Hello, everyone. My name is Vince Aguirre. I'm the host of the Small Business Squad. Today, I have a special guest with me, Marc Ward, CEO of Socian Technologies. Mark and I met a few weeks ago through a program we're both participants in. I graduated a few months back, and Mark's in it now, called G Beta. And instantly, I knew Mark was someone I wanted to bring on the show and share his background, what he's working on, some of his passions, projects, and all these great things that I love about him. And I think everyone watching this will have a good time. So, without further ado, I'm going to welcome Mark onto the screen. How are you?
Good mornings. I'm great. How about you?
I'm good. I'm better now that I'm with you.
Dude, I feel the same way. It's like one thing is that I'm such a fan of what you do, as you know, from the moment we met, and I know that you're good for a nice, intelligent conversation on your show. So I appreciate you making an exception for me because it's not going to be intelligent.
Listen, I know you're going to carry us today. So, without further ado, why don't you start carrying this conversation by telling us about your background?
Sure. For those who are mildly interested, I grew up as a Star Trek nerd, a real life the original series Star Trek nerd. Uh, that kind of gave. I think what I liked about it was the fact that there was always someone in engineering who had to solve a problem. Uh, then I took it upon myself as 7-year-old me to become an engineer, and I reverse engineered my parents' VCR, which
Oh,
almost got my rear end reverse engineered. So
huh.
as I took it apart, my my mother yelled, "I'll kill you!" And I was like, "Okay." I put this thing back together.
Yeah.
I taken it all the way apart and I put it all the way back together. So that's when my dad realized, like, there might be something here. Started helping him work on cars, developed that aptitude. Went off to Roosevelt University, right here in Chicago. Studied political science because I wanted to help out my community. Then I volunteered for a couple of political campaigns. I was like, that's not the way to help. Not the
Yeah.
way to help. Used
Yeah.
take it took advantage of our bridge program. Went to what was then known as John Marshall Law, which is now UIC Law, to
Yeah.
study law because I'll help my community through the system of jurisprudence. And once I clerked for a judge, like, nope, 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 that's not it either. No, 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 no. Uh, Kind of went back home. My dad gently told me, "Well, you can't stay here, so you either have to, you either have to go to school, get a job, or go to the military." Neither one of those is appealing. So
No.
I decided to go back to that mechanical aptitude. I applied to MIT. I was accepted into a theoretical physics program with a focus on this brand new thing called machine learning. It was brand new. No one had ever heard about it. You know, like what is this? What's a neural network? Unfortunately, though, I was unable to attend because it's kind of expensive. Kind of
Yeah.
expensive, and I was kind of broke. But through perseverance, I stayed in touch with a lot of professors who kind of coached me through. I would get advantage of the syllabus and continue learning on my own. I took those skills to the private sector, started working for companies like U-Haul, Genesco, General Block, building out infrastructures, and that is pretty much how I got here. Just a
Yeah.
lot of pitfalls, but I'm here now.
That's that's incredible. I feel like I only knew like 5% of that coming in. I have a U-Haul story that I can't say on live. We'll have to talk
Oh,
afterwards because I have beef with U-Haul. And if I would
who
have
doesn't
known
have?
you were involved with U-Haul, I don't know if we'd be having this conversation right now. It's big beef. It's big
It's not
beef.
a resume builder. I'll tell you that. You talk about U-Haul. It's not a resume builder. They're like,
Yeah.
really? You work for U-Haul? No, okay. Yeah, I get that a
Um,
lot.
yeah. I find it interesting. There's two things you said about your background that I notice often. One is people who tinker as children and get in trouble always tend to be creators and do great things with that tinkering once they're adults. But the other is people who look to politics or the public sector in general for making a change, and then realize, like I can just do this on my own. Like there's too much red tape here. I wonder the impact I can make without that. So I'm curious to hear more about like other tinkering projects that got you in trouble, and then kind of what made you shift your mindset from the
Oh,
public sector into other things.
too many tinkering. Good old Bloom High School, where I attended. If there's
Yeah.
any old faculty from there, they're like, this guy, he's still alive. I blew up a science lab. Um,
Oh no.
accidentally. I didn't. I was like, huh, these two compounds, huh? Let's see. Like they keep warning me about this. I don't know what's gonna happen. Boom! Like, I wasn't even this dark before. I was actually far lighter before that incident. but I would buy car back in those days. You could buy cars from the junkyard. You didn't, you could just buy an entire car, and I rebuilt cars. I still do that. As a little side hobby. I have a 2010 Mustang that
Nice.
I've been rebuilding, threw in a Coyote motor. So even back then, I would rebuild cars, and I started realizing I learned about compression, and I would learn about all these different things. And then I kind of got into street racing a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
just tinker with the cars,
Okay. That doesn't surprise me at all.
I may or may not have outrun law enforcement once or twice.
Okay. I feel like I'm an accomplice to something. I don't know if we can
You're
continue.
definitely, yeah. You have no plausible deniability now. Yeah, no, it's gone. I took that from you.
Yeah. Well, so not to cut off your story, but I feel like your history of running from law enforcement allegedly could be a good segue into how you're looking to help law enforcement through Socian Technologies. Because I imagine if local law enforcement had your technology, it'd be much easier for them to keep up with the hooligan street racing, right?
I know, right? They'd have to do far less work.
Why don't you tell us how you're trying to crush the fun of children who are living your youth through your current company?
I'm definitely eliminating future me's. That's what I'm doing. I'm from the future, going back to the past, eliminating any future me's that are possible. We're destroying the earth, so I'm doing this one person at a time. Socian Technologies. I was inspired, of course, when George Floyd was killed, and I was really, really upset, and I was tinkering in my little bat cave, if you will. And I really kind of went on a rant. By myself, I was just going nuts. And my son comes downstairs, and he's, what's wrong with you? I was like, you don't understand. It could have been me. It could have been you. It's just never going to stop. And my son, I don't know why, he looks at me. He's like 13 years old. He looks at me and he goes, well, why don't you just build something? It's like, build something? Get out of here. You can't just build something to stop systematic racism and then rampant crime through the streets. You'd have to build something like with advanced AI that acted like a mobile camera that responded to incidents and could record on the fly and offer feedback to law enforcement about what they're seeing and what they can't see. You'd have to build an entire infrastructure. You know what? Go upstairs. That gave me an idea. That might have. And don't eat my chicken when you go upstairs either. Which is the most important part of that story, because he still ate.
Did he really?
Of course he did. Of course.
It's a shame.
14. Of course he does. He lives in the refrigerator.
Eats everything.
He doesn't bother going to his room. He's cuddled up next to a plate of chicken in the refrigerator. Might as well. Why take the stairs? That's stupid.
Yeah.
So
path of least resistance.
The kid's smart, and then he's wily. That's an old-fashioned term. He's wily.
He's wily.
So
as long as it's not street racing.
As long as he's not street racing,
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
we're
But
good.
he's going to do other things. We decided to help law enforcement out, mainly because the thought is always they didn't know what was going on. So I had to take a sympathetic view to that, right? You can't villainize anyone through technology. You have to always have an open mind about what you're building and who
Mhm.
you're building it for. So was I building this tech for the community? I had to build it for our law enforcement community as well. So what I came up with was an advanced AI that could listen in on a 911 call, kind of parse it, and it's listening for keywords like gun, knife, murder, all these different violent words. But contemporaneously, it's also kind of looking at your address. What's the history of this address? Has there been a history of violence? Have we been out to this address before? And most importantly, is there a history of mental illness at this address? Because as we all know, and studies have shown this, that if you respond with a mental health professional instead of armed militia, somebody might not get shot.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to preserve those lives as well. Once our AI makes a determination, pushes that determination to the 911 operator, the system autonomously will dispatch our drone, and the drone gets out there much faster than law enforcement can. Gets out to the scene, begins recording only on scene, so there's no surveillance. We record on scene, and we're giving feedback to law enforcement to continuously update them on what they're walking into, and then we'll record until the situation's over,
Yeah.
and then the drone goes back to its nest. That's it.
Yeah. I think it's just so cool. And being from Chicago myself, you and I've had this conversation. They're in some parts of the city they have gunshot trackers, right? They hear a
Mhm.
gunshot, camera turns on, a stationary camera that's always there, always on the corner, turns on and starts to do surveillance. Um, Talk to me about how your technology is different and better than that.
What? I guess as a CEO, I better say, oh yeah, we're far better. Because now's not a time to be humble. It's far better. Um, I think all the other things are half measures,
Hmm.
right? Okay, gunshot detection, great. We know where the gunshot was, but I don't think here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I'm just gonna put it bluntly for your
Yeah.
audience because I think audiences get tired of being talked down to and instead of being talked to.
Yeah.
Um, Shooters don't shoot and stay. Shooters shoot and leave.
Yeah.
You know, nobody
Yeah.
shoots up a you don't shoot up a street party and go, I'd like some food now. I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna grab some meat off that barbecue. You don't do that. Yeah,
Right.
if you're a criminal, you're thinking, oh, I shot someone. I got to get out of here before the police arrive. So a gunshot detection, it's a half measure. Yeah, we
Hmm.
know where the gunshot came, but at the same time, you got 911 calls pouring in.
Right.
That shooter's long gone. Um, for a future version of our drone, it will have a similar geo echolocation sensor where we can hear the gunshot and the drone dispatches itself to that area looking for what I call a social abnormality.
Yeah.
Meaning, oh, we arrived in this area where the gunshot was heard and we see a lot of people running.
Hmm.
This is probably where it happened. And now we're looking for maybe a car driving away erratically. We're looking for so little things that you can train. And then stationary cameras. That's always a problem in Chicago.
Yeah.
You're capturing only part of the story.
Hmm.
You're capturing one angle. With us, you get the entire story from an aerial view, which is why like helicopters are always big, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to send out the helicopter, but they're expensive to deploy. They're
Yeah.
expensive to operate. We're cents on the dollar to operate.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when I talk with people about technology, they're always quick to become afraid of some of the negative repercussions, right? And you say drone. surveilling criminals, and people go, "Oh, deep
Yeah.
state, Big Brother," things like that. But especially in those areas like Chicago, where I'm specifically talking to right now, these cameras are on the corner 24/7. So when you talk about a drone that can come, survey, and leave,
Hmm.
to me that's a huge advance in the community aspect and
Hmm.
the privacy of the community. I think there's a lot of really awesome potential, specifically in those situations. But um, for you and I've talked about this before too. I'm based in a rural community. A lot of my clients and a lot of people watching this are in rural communities. Talk about the capability of a large county with maybe just a handful of sheriffs to cover the whole county. How they could benefit from having this technology stationed around the county.
Absolutely. And for something like that, I actually have a scenario I'd like to give you. So, you have a beautiful rural county, and you got a couple sheriffs, and they can't be everywhere at once. They're again, these are human beings; they can't be everywhere at once. So, Mrs. Edna, who lives on a particular street, and her cognitive abilities are starting to decline, but we love Miss Edna. Miss Edna's great. Miss Edna looks outside of her window and goes, "Someone's breaking into my neighbor's house. Someone send the police." And she calls 911, and the 911 operator is saying, okay, somebody's breaking in. Yeah, it's a guy across the street. Well, option one would be for you to take your sheriff, who may be working another call. He could be eating. He could just be in the bathroom. So he's got to drop something and get out there. With our option, the drone is deployed. It goes out, goes directly to the address, and it looks across the street from Miss Edna. And it's giving automatic feedback to that 911 operator who still has Miss Edna on the phone. And the 911 operator, looking at her screen, can say, "Miss Edna, I don't think you have anything to worry about. See that car the person's driving? Notice that it says Pizza Hut on the side? He's delivering pizza." Okay. This already saves your county money. It saves that area money. It saves it time. It stops the embarrassment of all these squad cars coming to a house.
Mhm.
It just, and all great startups either save you money, or they save time, or they save lives. Those are the three big ones. Um, so once we're out there, we can record it. It's just a pizza guy. It can leave. We make a note. Miss Edna's suspicious of the pizza guy. Now, let's play that out a different way. Let's say, no, there's a guy really kicking that door in.
Mhm.
Okay, same thing. We can get out there, provide that feedback, tell Miss Edna to make sure she locks her door while we now dispatch human officers to the scene. Human officers who know exactly what's going on now.
Yeah.
Guy with green pants, black shirt, he's already made entry into the house. Law enforcement isn't guessing once they get
Mhm.
there. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I
It's
try.
so it's so cool.
I try.
Yeah. Well, you're trying hard and you're doing good work. Um, so speaking of trying hard, one thing I'm starting to ask people as we're interviewing is we're going on live, and you can take a minute to really think about this if you need, because I didn't prepare you for this, but what
Oh,
have been some challenges that have forced you to grow in specifically in this business? Everyone talks about entrepreneurship and growing a business, and you hear all the good stories. You hear about Mark Zuckerberg, right?
mhm.
But people don't talk about those challenging moments. So, is there anything that comes to mind if that's kind of challenged you to force you to grow?
Tons of things.
Yeah,
Literally tons and tons and tons. And you and I have talked about a few of them. But one thing is, social media has created this idea of the overnight success story,
yeah,
right? Oh yeah, I went out and raised $600 million, on the back of a napkin. And sure, it does happen. It does,
sure.
but not for every idea.
Hmm.
And when you start, if you're not prepared for the rejection, if you're not prepared for the, hey, this is a great idea, but no. Oh yeah, I love this idea, but you're too early. Especially when people say, "Oh, we invested the idea stage," and they respond with, "Oh, you're just a little too early."
Yeah.
It could be demotivational.
Right.
You've got to stay the course. So those were some things I had to get over.
Yeah.
Um, Going from, as you say, the tinkerer, right?
Yeah.
Going from the tinkerer to, oh man, I'm running a company. Oh
Mhm.
wow, that it's a shift. It's a paradigm shift, right? Because I'm responsible.
Yeah.
I'm responsible. I've never been responsible in my life. what? What? Yeah,
You have power now.
I have power. I have power.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so those things, just the growing pains of having a company. Is this the right investor? Is this the right capital? Am I releasing the right product at the right time? Does it
Yeah.
have the right features? It can be overwhelming. So
Yeah.
make sure you get a great support system. Join a great accelerator. Like I don't know the maybe God, what is that? The G Beta program.
Yeah. That's a good
Right
one.
off the top of my head. Right off the top of my head.
It's a great one. I've heard about it.
God, it's a great one. I didn't really think about it. The G Beta program that has so much built into it, and you guys have been so helpful and even offering advice. So yeah, but it's a lot. It's a loaded question. Like you wake up
Yeah.
every day, be prepared. You got to think to yourself, if you can't do this every day for the next 5 years minimum,
Mhm.
don't do it. If
Yeah.
you can't wake up and love it every day, don't do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to that point, um, what is your long-term vision, right? In the perfect world, as far as the mission and the good you can do as a company, what does that look like in 10 years, 20 years?
Um,
Strategic drink of water. I like it.
yeah, I had to. Oh, that is definitely not water. That is vodka.
Yeah, it's only 10:30 in Chicago, right? We're great.
It's only 10:30 in the morning. I had to get for this interview. I had to get loose. It will be to go to have from being the good guy to the bad guy. I'll be Dr. Evil with sharks with laser beams on their heads. I'm gonna be that guy.
You want to
I
be
was
Tony
the
Stark.
nice.
I know it.
Yeah, I was the nice guy, and I'm the evil overlord. Running things. Need some Avengers level team to stop
Oh.
me.
So
That's all.
here's the beauty of that joke. In 20 years, when your company's public and you're in every major city, someone's going to find this
Oh,
and
of
bring it
course.
up and start a conspiracy theory against you. And now I'm going to be involved in a conspiracy theory. So I'm honored to be
You're
in your
definitely
conspiracy theory.
you're definitely involved. Definitely involved. It was an entire cabal. It was an entire cabal involved. um, Actually, what I'm aiming for in 10 years is for us to become the Samsung of the public safety sector. To always
Okay.
push forward great, innovative products that make your city smarter
Yeah.
and safer. Because that's what we're doing, right? With this tech, we're introducing IoT to cities. We're making them
Yeah.
smart. So why not keep that ball rolling and keep making products that just make people feel comfortable at
Yeah.
home again? That's
Absolutely.
all I'm hoping.
Absolutely. I love that.
that's
I love that.
that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. And I know you're going to do it.
And a few sharks with
We're,
laser beams on their heads.
yeah, a couple lazy beams don't hurt.
Couple laser beams.
They try to make dolphins work in the military, right? Surely you can get
They
sharks to work in the
have.
police force.
They have.
Yeah.
And I need a few. That way, when I do employee evaluations, open up the Shark Tank.
Open up the Shark Tank.
Open
Nothing
up
like a
Shark
little
Tank.
fear in the workplace to make people
Nothing
motivated.
like a good dose of fear.
Yeah.
And you got to do it at like 9 in the morning, like as soon as they get in. Like, yeah, it's Shark Tank time.
Oh man. I can't wait for this to resurface in 10 years.
Can't
This
wait.
is going to be fantastic.
That's what it
So
is.
we normally keep these around 30 minutes. We're at 25 minutes right now. What would you like to share? Is there anything we haven't touched on that you feel is important to get out? Or maybe tell people how they can find you, or even who you're looking to connect with. Maybe if someone watching can help connect you with someone. I'll let you kind of take the floor and close us out with those types of things.
Really? You don't
Yeah,
say.
it's all
Holly
you.
Berry, if you're watching.
Well,
No.
hold on. For that kind of call out, you need to be the focus. Hold on.
Holly
Go for
Berry.
it.
Listen, Holly. For years now, you and I have played this cat and mouse thing. I've avoided you, avoided your calls and emails, and you've seen me in the street and you've run away. That's all right. I'm kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding. Like, oh
I keep
my
it in the
God.
background too.
Holly, I'm ready now. I wasn't ready then, but I'm ready now. Sure, you have kids,
But I have drones. So.
but I have drones. We can watch the kids with the drones. I love you,
Oh
Holly.
man.
Now that'd
No,
be
I'm
the
not.
part that gets out. Like Holly Berry's like,
Yeah.
what? Why is this weirdo talking to me?
Oh, wait, hold on. Is he sending the drones? This is getting weird.
He's sitting in the truck. Oh yeah, that's the new publicity leak. Tech nerd sends drones to follow Holly Berry around. That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
You guys can find me on social media, Marc Ward at twitter.com/Socian08. That's really where I'm most active. Find me on LinkedIn, Marc Ward, MARC. Make sure it's with a C, not a K.
Important.
I'm very contemporary. But mostly what I'd like to say is our company is out here to do good. As you can tell, I'm a guy who doesn't mind laughing at himself or the world, but make sure to be good to each other. And if you are starting a business, be good to yourself and take care of your mental health. And let's just do right by people. We've had enough jerks for a while. So let's try to be good to one another.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, Mark, as you know already, you are always welcome to come and chat.
Yes.
This is definitely the most fun I've had in a while. So you can tell how boring my life is. I'm just kidding.
Vodka.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what was in my 2 different beverages, but it is Friday.
It's Friday.
And, the 500's coming up here in Indiana, so it's all about having a good time. But thank you very much. I stick around, and after I shut down the stream, love to catch up with you offline. But
you got it, brother. You got
hopefully we'll do this again soon.
Hopefully. Let's get it done.
For sure. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.